Welcome to Winning Inside, the show where we follow the journey from feeling defeated to winning. Here are your hosts, Cheddy Matthews and Michelle Wickman.
Hello, amazing people. Welcome to the Winning Inside podcast, where we discuss real issues, insights, and solutions to help you thrive in your day-to-day lives.
We know life happens, and we can choose to be a spectator or a participant.
Michelle, how are you doing on this beautiful day?
So good.
I know. It's warm outside. It's clear blue skies again. It's back. I love it. Oh my gosh, I love it.
It was really cold this morning. I mean, it was like
I'll take the
41
cold.
degrees when I walked outside, which is cold for us.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
cold-ish. It's California cold. But it was a clear blue sky, and I will take that every day of the week. It was just beautiful out there. Oh,
It really is. It's
yes.
stunning outside. And also, I think a lot of it has to do with what we have decided to take on as our communication every morning with each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it's not every single morning, but it's most mornings.
Yeah.
Just starting the day with something extremely positive, and I can hear it when you send me a text message. I can almost hear sort of the tone that you use, right? And the excitement. Michelle, have an amazing day.
Yeah. But it's
So I
how I
read
feel.
your text messages in that voice.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times
I
that's how it's
know.
being said. It is how it's being said.
Yeah.
You know,
I believe it. And I've been texting several people every morning
Mhm.
with that same intent of,
Nice.
and we talked about this last time, but it's really like we're still doing it,
Yeah.
right? It's like still
Yeah.
going on.
Because
And
it feels good.
yeah, and it's not a challenge. It's like
Yeah.
it could stop any day or it could go on forever,
Yeah.
but it really is just something that we're like, how do you spread positivity, gratitude, energy, excitement
Yeah.
to other people who have goals
Hmm.
that you're familiar with, that you're a part of, all of those things. And we do it for each other.
Yeah. That is so
Yeah,
true.
it's
Yeah.
so good. I highly encourage people to take that on. Just you and a friend just get on the same page and be like, I'm gonna be like not fake positive, but like
Yeah.
genuine, like let's go get it today. Let's make something happen.
Gosh, I'm so glad you said that. Fake positive. I think, let me talk about that for a second. Because what this does is it challenges me to be positive so that I can show up and I can express positivity to you or to whoever I'm sending those morning messages to. So it really has changed because I have to intentionally now make sure that you're positive because you can't give it if you don't have it. So it makes me
Mhm.
make work on my positivity first. When I'm charged up, then I can share something. And from that place, I never feel like I'm depleting my own energy. I'm always fired up because if I'm not fired up, I can't send it. But I gotta send it, so I've got to get fired up. So it's almost like this machine that keeps. It's like a self-running machine. It just keeps going, and I really enjoy starting my days that way because it really does frame the rest of your day. Love it.
Yeah, I love it. Yesterday, I sent a few people the message. What can you? It was the last day of January,
Hmm.
technically yesterday, from when
Yeah.
we're recording this on the 1st of February.
Yep.
And I said, what is it that you can get done today that you may have been pushing off all month? And you're just, you're going to be proud of yourself for getting it done in January because
Yes.
technically it's still January.
Oh yeah.
And, several people actually responded and were like, thank you for doing that because I finally made that phone call. I
Yeah.
finally sent that email, even though I know I've been dragging my feet, even though I know that it was going to be emotionally charged for me.
Yeah.
Different things like that I'm like, hey, awesome. Like so great to hear and really proud of you for getting that done. And then this morning, I sent a new challenge because now I'm like, it's the first day of February,
Yes, you
guys,
did.
of this amazing year, 2023.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, tell somebody that you don't normally, talk to, not your partner or family member, something that you admire about them,
Yeah.
right? And this reminded me of an exchange that Cheddy and I had last week where we were expressing our deep gratitude for one another for what we represent to each other in
Yeah.
our lives. And then this brought up the conversation of like, how do you tell somebody that you love them? What words do you use other than I love you?
Yeah. It's an interesting way you're putting it. Well, I think you hit the nail on the head with that one because we do have love languages, as people have heard. You've probably heard the words love languages. And there were five of them. There are five ways that we can express the idea and the words and the feelings of air quotes, I love you. I love you, air quotes. So the first one would be words of affirmation. And you've probably heard of these. If you want to get a pen out, write them down. Words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. So think about those and what they mean to you, because what I've learned about the love languages, we all have them. We like, but here's the thing, here's the kicker with it. We have a way that we like to give love. And we also have a way that we like to receive love. And they aren't always the same. And I'll give you an example from my life. I don't like receiving gifts really, but apparently I like to give them. And never really understood that because I don't like gifts, but I give gifts, but I don't really often really want them in return because that's not the way I like to receive love. That doesn't mean you love me if you give me a gift, but to other people it does. And when I give gifts to people, it does mean I care about you. I was thinking about you. I love you or whatever. So I realized that, well, you got to check yourself on that. And it took me almost this year's old to figure that one out. I learned that a few years ago, maybe two, that I like to receive love a different way than I give it. So be aware of these. Do you like words of affirmation, i.e., compliments, feedback, just people saying nice things about you, recognizing you for who you are and verbally expressing that? That for me is one thing I do. I am going to shower people that I love with words of affirmation. And it's going to make you sick, but it's just how I express it, it's how it comes out. But some people prefer acts of service. And these are the folks that like to give you things and do things for you, do chores, running errands, doing tasks, doing the honey-do list, the to-do lists, just getting things done for you to let them know I care about you enough to put air in your tire, to get gas in your car. And they don't have to be major tasks. I'm not saying I've repaired the roof for you. I'm just saying, hey, I saw the light bulb was out and I changed it. It's just a way of serving someone and expressing your love for that person in the actions and the way that you do things for them. Another way is receiving gifts. And I'm going to say it as just gift giving, because if I'm talking about giving love, it really could be giving people gifts. I thought about you. Here's a card. I went in the store and I saw this thing and I could just see you wearing it. Here you go. I know where you are in your life and I want to give you something to cheer you up or to let you know that someone's thinking about you. Whatever it is, we like to give gifts as an expression or a token of our appreciation and affection for somebody else. And one of mine, I do believe it's one of mine, is quality time. I love spending time with people. And if you're one of those people, then you totally get it. And for me, spending time is interesting because being fully present with someone else to me is just a way of bonding. What I've noticed with people that I'm really close with, i.e., let's say my kids, we can get to a point where we don't even have to talk. As long as we're just in the same space, as long as we're in the same proximity, the bonding happens. There's a certain magic that happens. And I don't know what it is, but they know that they're having an effect. And when the transformations happen, they just leave. And it's like, I feel better knowing that they're around and that we're just kind of bonding because we're spending time together. Sometimes we spend time together and we do things. It could be just watching a movie together, going on a walk together, just being present and being available for someone, just being in their space, letting them know that they're not alone. That's powerful. And another one is physical touch. Some people are very touchy-feely, want to hug you. I'm a hugger. Some people want to hold hands. They want to hug. They want to lean on your shoulder. They want to snuggle up next to you, get as close as they can. Someone who likes to just talk with their hands in a non-offensive way. But understand that this is a way that people like to express love. So with those, how in the world do you know that your person or your partner loves you? Because you hear these, Michelle, you've probably heard this before where someone's like, he never tells me he loves me or blah, blah, blah. And somebody else might be like, well, but I did this for her. I did that for her, you know,
Hmm.
and because they're expressing love and receiving it in different ways. This was a challenge. And I got to say, in hindsight, let's be honest, if I had figured this out 20 years ago, I probably would have never got divorced. Maybe, maybe not. But I'm just thinking to myself, I just feel like I have grown knowing this. And going forward, I think whoever I'm with will benefit from the fact that I know these things and can be very cognizant of them.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think, but going back to just words of affirmation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because this book was written to, I mean, well, I don't really know why it was written.
Yeah.
But the tool that it offers us, right,
Mm-hmm.
is that there are different ways of expressing love. And there's also different ways of our comfort level with receiving love, as Chetty expressed regarding receiving gifts, right?
Yeah.
Some people really get excited about when somebody else gives them gifts and they're like, yes, you love me, you've been thinking about me, all those things. And they may not utilize giving gifts necessarily as a way to express love. So I'm very similar with Chetty on this one. I'm probably not that as well versed as giving gifts as Chetty is. He's pretty extreme,
I didn't realize I do it
but
though. That's the weird part.
yeah, no, but I do. I don't enjoy gift giving during gift giving season. I enjoy
Either
gift
do
giving
I.
in like just random times, right?
Yes.
I saw this, I thought of you, I wanted you to have it and get a kick out of it and smile and enjoy it and, here, right?
Yes.
So it's so hard for me sometimes when I'm buying things in November or whatever. We're getting close to, I'm like, "Ugh, just, oh, forget it. I'll just give it to him now." You know, like it
Yes.
doesn't work out for me. And
Uh,
similarly with words of affirmation, I wanted to go over that one a little bit because you can say, I love you, right? But you can also elaborate on that, right? As Chetty spoke to the compliments, I'm not comfortable. I shouldn't say I can't stand. I am not extremely comfortable at receiving compliments, right? I'm like, let's move on. Thank you. Let's move on. I
yeah.
know it's important to recognize and acknowledge other people when they compliment you.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have that uncomfortable feeling inside of me. And yet, when somebody takes the time to express, just even in kind words to me, something that they admire about me or something that I've done for them in the past that meant a lot, like it moves me to tears,
Yeah.
right? So that kind of recognition of another person and what they mean to you in your life, using language around that, is an incredible expression of love because
Yeah.
you are making the other person be and feel seen, right? And that ultimately, when it comes to humans, is something that, it almost feels as though we've lost a little bit of that post pandemic.
Yeah.
And also with the onslaught of various forms of media that we have access to. So that ability to hear somebody say those things directly to you
Yes.
it can be life changing.
Absolutely.
And I know a
Agreed.
lot of people are dealing with incredible amounts of stress and it
Yeah.
can be incredibly challenging. So taking that time to recognize and acknowledge somebody
Yeah.
through your words and saying what it is that you admire about them or how they changed your life, no matter how small or insignificant seeming, or you may
Yeah.
assume they know what you're talking about. It's it means a lot and it can shift so much within them for not just that day, but even going forward.
Yeah. That's lovely. Oh, that is lovely. And I think what you're saying is so right. And that goes for, you said words of affirmation, but we could actually take that out and add any of these because they are all expressions. They're just different ways of expressing. So I like to use words. Some people like to use deeds. Some people like to use tokens, gifts. Some people like to use just proximity and time. And some people like to use tactile touch, just touching someone, just kinesthetically communicating with somebody else. So whatever you use is the way you use it. And I would ask you to look in the mirror and really reflect on the way you like to receive love. What is it that people do that make you know, wow, that person really cares about me? I feel special because this person did, said, acted, stayed, did this thing for me or to me. But also, when I like someone and I love them and I appreciate them, how do I express that to them? And see, sometimes those things are the same, which is great. I give gifts, they give gifts. We give gifts to each other when we're all happy. But if it's not, you need to know what they are. Because I think a lot of times people really do express love in different ways and it isn't recognized as love by the other person. And if you know what your love languages are, you may want to explicitly tell people, this is one of the ways that I show you that I love you. This is how I do that. And when you do this thing to me, I feel like you love me. When you do this other thing, it doesn't have the same effect. And I just want to let you know that. And that way, just because I like, let's say you like using words of affirmation, if I know you like quality time, well, I need to spend some quality time with you so that I can express love in the way that I like to express love, but I can show you love in the way that you like to receive love. Those two aren't the same. Maybe I should say that again. I have to learn how to express love in a certain way so that I feel like I'm expressing the way I love you, but also I have to learn to express love in the way that you like to receive love. So you know and are aware that you are loved. So not only am I saying I love you, but you're also receiving that person loves me. And you're receiving both of those messages because sometimes that translation is needed. And we've got to do things that our partners or those that we love, those that we care about, understand and acknowledge as love. I know it's a whole lot to say, and I know it sounds a little confusing, but that was something that I had to learn. That sometimes it
Yeah,
doesn't matter
no,
what I say. Go ahead.
I think that there's like the big kind of overarching themes of
Hmm.
love and
Yeah.
expressions of love. But then there's also individuals. So with some people, I don't necessarily view, acts of service as something that I want to experience with them, right? So, but at the end of the day, the only reason why I use this tool is to just build awareness, right?
Yeah.
So it's understanding and being able to recognize and really honor when somebody gives me a gift.
Yeah.
And mind you, I'm talking about small gifts, right?
Yeah.
Like I bought Cheddy candy.
Yes. Yes.
When he told me what his favorite candies were over a year ago,
Yep.
right? And he's like, I don't know where to get them. And I would like thought to myself, I'm like, got quiet and I'm like, hmm. So I went to the World Market store because it's World Market and they have candies from all over. And of course, they had his candies there. I'm like, perfect.
Yeah.
And then I gave them to him and he ate all of them. But
I have to tell
then
everything. You can tell the story about telling everything. We could have edited that part out. Like we didn't have to say
you
all
can
of
still
them.
edit it out.
It's staying in there. You know me.
Post production.
Staying in there.
So, but the thing is, then I mean, that meant a lot to him, right?
Yes. That
He
was
knew
significant.
that I went to go like find it out, search it out. I bought it, I brought it to him, and then also now he knew where to get his fix of British candy. But it's those little tiny gifts that's like it because you're expressing that you know the person, right?
Yeah.
And that you think about them and that you want to give them this thing that is sort of a representation.
Yeah.
And so, inversely, even though I don't enjoy as much receiving small gifts, I learn to respect and honor when somebody offers them to me,
Yeah.
right? Because it is an expression of their love. And so instead of being dismissive, and I'm dismissive because I'm uncomfortable, right? Or
Yeah.
I was, right? I take the time to say, wow, like this is amazing. I can't, and I remember you gave me this like Disney journal. I'm like,
Uh,
what? I'm like, did you carry this around with you all day? And this is so cool, you know? And I wasn't inauthentic about it. It was true
Yeah.
because I do love Disney. And I do love getting new journals and then I start them and not finish them because that's how my brain works. But it's taking the time to truly acknowledge how other people express love. So that kind of awareness, that's what this tool is for, is to build awareness, to recognize, oh, they're trying to show me that they care about me,
Yeah.
right? Let's say somebody's is quality time
Yeah.
and you're just frustrated because you're like, I don't have time for this right now. But really, what they're trying to say is, I love you and I want to spend time with you and I want to honor and respect you. And so, understanding and recognizing that can kind of change how you respond to it, right?
Yes.
Because you might get annoyed and be like, I don't have time for this right now. Happens a lot with parents and kids, right? I don't have time for this right now. But at the end of the day, you're like, oh, wait, this is an expression of love. Okay. Well, I want to acknowledge, hey, can we come back to this later? I would love to watch a movie with you. I just have to wrap up my work for the day or whatever it is. It's just
Yeah.
taking the time to recognize and acknowledge that somebody wants to express love with you,
Yeah.
accept it, receive it, right? And
Yes.
then set the parameters around how you can actually enjoy that with them.
Yes. Yeah. I love that ebb and flow of doing these, just the back and forth of how a
Hmm.
relationship has to work. It's not always about how you like something. I think the give and take is what connects us, I believe, because sometimes you give and it's received, and sometimes you receive because it's given. And that connection, I think, intertwines us and interlocks us and gets us closer to one another. Could be wrong on that. Just my perception and just my 2 cents, but that is my 2 cents, and that's how I see that. I can see it only benefiting because as we change, and they say that every 5 to 7 years we change, you're a whole new person, just the way you think, the way you act, your bodies change, and things change. But you get to learn somebody anew in all of those phases and all of those times, because I guarantee, I know for me, those have changed over the years. My love languages have changed in different phases of life. And it's good because it keeps me present to make sure that I'm aware of how people like to hear and receive love. Physical touch is another one. We didn't touch on that one. But some people who always pat you on the back, always give you a hug, always rubbing up on you, rubbing shoulders. Some people are just tactile like that. And it's funny because in this day and age, people are really afraid to touch people. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't, but it's such a challenge because some people get very awkward. And I'll give you one. I was at a networking event and I knew one person and they introduced me to their friend. And I just hugged this person. Hey, how you doing? Gave them a big old hug because that's just what we do. And she goes, this is my friend, blah, blah. And I went over and said, hi, gave that person a big old hug. And the person's body froze. So I was like, oh, you could tell immediately, I probably shouldn't have done that. And I, unhugged. And it was interesting. We talked, we exchanged business cards, and we talked for a little bit. And later on, she says, based on my faith, the only people that I touch that aren't that are males basically are my son and my husband. And I was like, I felt so bad, and I apologized. And she goes, no problem, you didn't know. But it made me realize that just because I express love or affection in that way, it doesn't mean that everybody does. So now I have to be more receptive. And sometimes I'll say to people, hey, I'm a hugger. You a hugger? And if they say no, I'll give them an elbow, I'll give them a wave or a thumbs up or whatever. And if they are, I go for that hug. And you can tell now, but I now preamble that with, hey, I'm a hugger. Are you? Sometimes they'll say yes, and we'll hug it out. Sometimes they'll say no, or they'll look at you like you're weird, and you realize that person's not a hugger. So I've learned to really manage that based on the day and age that we're in. And it's only wisdom.
Yeah.
But with your partner, hey, they know if you like touch or not. Just sometimes people need touch and they may need it more
Oh,
than you
God,
do.
yeah.
And you may need it more than they do. So you've got to work on a compromise of how you're going to work that out so they can communicate in their authentic language. I love you. And I'm showing you by doing this thing, whatever it is. It could be, I don't know. It could be anything. It could be something silly. It could be you sticking your finger in their nose just to be silly. It could be stroking their hair. It could be just putting your head on their shoulder. It could be touching them on the parts that only you can touch them on, because if anyone else did it, they get smacked in the face. It could be anything like that. But you have a thing. You have a way that you tactilely, that's not a word, but I'm going to use it as a word because it fits. You tactilely touch somebody, you touch them in such a way that they know that we are connected. And that touch meant that I'm thinking about you and I'm showing you affection in this way. Or I know
Yeah.
you like to have your hair stroked or put your hand on your shoulder. So I'm going to do that so that you know we're together. Hand holding, arms on waist, whatever it is. So that's those. What I would tell people is really think about these and see how they operate in your life, and give yourself a reflection and just see how you can operate better in this space, how you can be more of a communicator with your love language, and how you can learn to receive the person that you love or the people that you love, their love language as well. Even with
Yeah.
children, how do your children or young ones like to receive love? And it could be different. Like, I'm sure my kids, I know for me, they do words of affirmation as well. They do other ones too, but they know that I like words of affirmation. They know my son will always come over. He'll see me. He'll just kiss me on my forehead. My daughter will come over and she might lean her head on me or give me like a kiss and something real simple and then just move on. But it says so much and it means so much, because that's just their way between us. And sometimes there's no words transferred. It's just the expression. So I love that. I do love that. I love that.
Yeah. I also want to make a note that expressing love is intentional, right?
Yes.
So it's not something that you just wait for it to sort of present itself or the opportunity to present itself, or if you're in a good mood and then you do the thing. That's not what's going to carry you through
Mm-hmm.
in this life with your partner, with your
Yes.
family, things of that nature. You can make it at your intention to express love to people every day or once a week or
Yeah.
whatever it is, but taking the time to really choose to express love and be intentional about it
Mm-hmm.
can absolutely shift so much about your energy, your
Yeah.
level of happiness, your level of connection with your partner, your family members, or your friends.
Yes.
Really taking that opportunity to be intentional with expressing love consistently, right? And
Consistently.
when you do it, it starts to become a habit. You can tell that with Chetty, certain things are habits. Like words of affirmation are totally habits with
That's
him. I remember
me.
when we first met, and I'm like, dude, I just met you. You can't talk like that, right? And he's like, no, I talk like to everybody like this. And he really does. Like he
Yeah.
just really does. So I'm like, oh, okay. So that's just who you are. But it took me a while to realize that because I just
That's
didn't
the kind of
know.
weird that I am. Yeah.
Yeah, but
It's
it's
funny.
his habit now because he made it an intention, if you will, and now it's how he shows up, and he gets to reap the benefits of expressions of love to strangers, total strangers, and his
Yeah.
friends on a consistent basis and his family on a consistent basis
Yeah.
because as we've said before, love is a multiplier.
Yeah.
So wherever you express love, it just grows, right? As opposed to, it doesn't take away anything from anybody else when you express love to other people. It doesn't take away from
Yes.
you. It doesn't take away from other people who you're not expressing love to. It just grows and multiplies.
I love it.
So being intentional with expressing that continues to grow and multiply love within your life. It will absolutely shift your outlook on life.
Agreed. Wow. That is beautiful. I thank you for closing out that way. Whew, that was actually the icing on top of all of this. And I hope what we share today adds value to your lives. Seriously, hopefully it's something that you can take something away with and go home and try and apply it. Think about how this shows up in your life and how you can show up for other people in this way. But beyond that, going forward, if you guys have any questions, if you've tried this, give us some comments, give us some feedback. Let us know what you're thinking about this. If it works, if it's total rubbish, doesn't make sense, or hey, this actually works. This weird stuff works. Whatever it is, give us some conversation, give us some feedback so we know. If you have any questions, let us know that too. Hit us up. Hit us up on email, social media, wherever, and just have the conversation. And if you guys have questions that you want us to address on the platform, let us know that too. We would love to call you out, shout you out, and answer a question if we can, as candid as we possibly can be. We're just here, two people just talking. So we'd love to share that with you. And beyond all of that, if you have enjoyed today's podcast, please subscribe, follow, share. Yes, please share this. And most importantly, use whatever adds value to your amazing life.
And remember, even if life puts barriers in our way, we are still moving forward. Sign in again for a new episode of Winning Inside.
Thank you for listening to Winning Inside with Cheddy Matthews and Michelle Wickman. If you enjoyed today's show, please make sure to click the follow button, rate and review at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can connect with Cheddy and Michelle at winninginside.io. Keep listening. Another episode is coming soon.